Welcome back to the Hannahcast YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be giving you my September Oscar predictions for the acting categories, as well as SAG Ensemble, because I figured why not just lump that in with the acting categories. You know, let's just start with Best Lead Actor. Now, the reason why I'm not starting with Lead Actress is because one of those movie titles involves a curse word, and I'm worried that's going to affect the demonetization of this video. So we're just going to start with Lead Actor because it's a little bit more vanilla. A lot has changed ever since my last acting predictions video. For the biggest one, actually, the two biggest ones being A Complete Unknown and The Brutalist. And both of these have huge lead actor contenders. And a lot of people right now are predicting Adrien Brody for The Brutalist. And again, I do think that could happen, but I'm actually going to predict Timothée Chalamet wins for A Complete Unknown, mainly because, well, for one, I do feel like A Complete Unknown is going to get into Best Picture. I mean, obviously, The Brutalist is too, but, like, some people are trying to doubt A Complete Unknown, and I'm like, nah, it's going to be that film that people are not going to want to get into Best Picture, but it's going to get into Best Picture because it's baity enough and all that. As long as the movie just does not get bad reviews, I think A Complete Unknown will be fine, but I do think, like, I think one of the reasons why I'm thinking Timothée Chalamet wins is that he does fit the bill more than Adrien Brody as to who wins a lead acting Oscar. You know, it's a biopic performance, you know, and whereas Adrien Brody, I think, is playing an originally made character. Or if he is playing a real life character, he's clearly not. It's clearly not like as much of a biopic performance as Timothée Chalamet. And also, Timothée Chalamet's been around for a while. Like, he's been nominated for an Oscar, and he got close to being nominated for Beautiful Boy. And I could probably see him getting in for this. And also, he has Dune. He also has Dune, which keeps him in the spotlight as well. So I think as long as A Complete Unknown is, you know, not badly reviewed, as long as people really quite like it, I think he could probably be the Oscar winner. Now, I do think Adrien Brody is going to be like the critic sweeper. Like, I could definitely see him winning like critic circles and stuff, and people think he's the front runner at first. But again, the industry, when it comes to the industry awards, it really is like, you know, Timothée Chalamet is usually that giving. He looks like he's going to be giving the kind of performance that you usually see winning acting Oscars. So that's why I kind of believe he's winning. Colman Domingo, I don't think he's winning anymore. I do think the movie is going to win an acting Oscar, but ultimately I did kind of think it was inevitable that Colman Domingo wasn't going to stay in number one forever. Like, someone was going to take him down. And so, yeah. Then another big update, what you saw in my last video, which was, you know, The Apprentice is coming back. You know, The Apprentice is releasing this year. They took care of all the legal issues, and they are releasing it right around election time. And I do think that puts Sebastian Stan back in the contention for lead actor. And I think no matter what happens to this movie, like, considering the reviews are out and people do like it quite a bit, you know, it's not, you know, amazing, but they are positive enough to where Sebastian Stan is not going to be like Hugh Jackman in The Sun, where even though he's giving an amazing performance, the movie's reception itself keeps him out of Best Picture and Best Actor. I feel like the reception for The Apprentice is way better, and so I do feel like he's like that does help him. And also, again, this checks the box for what usually goes into a lead actor Oscar nominee. You know, it is a biopic performance, but also I feel like, especially considering this is an election year, no matter what happens to The Apprentice, at minimum it's going to get lead actor. At minimum, it's going to get lead actor. Because I feel like it's just going to be too irresistible, you know? I feel like it's good, like, people are going to think it's too irresistible to nominate a Donald Trump biopic performance. Now, again, If this were like an Adam McKay biopic, then obviously, yeah, it would be easy. But there could be a world where Sebastian Stan misses, but I do feel like he would. Like, I feel like I am again. I don't want to say safe, but he fits in the lineup very well. I guess and honestly, and again, we have to kind of figure out what precursors he would get for this. Like, I think Golden Globe is definitely a given. Could he get SAG? Maybe. Like, I think, honestly, even if he were to just get the Golden Globe, I would be fine in just in predicting him, because he's at least at the conversation. And again, you look at some of these other contenders, and it's like, I don't know if they're going to happen. Like, well, okay, well, for one, Ray Fiennes, yes, he's going to happen. Although, again, there is a chance that Conclave could slip. But really, overall, I just don't really know who else could get in. There is Daniel Craig in Queer. That could happen, but overall, Queer looks like it could be either Daniel Craig or bust. Whereas The Apprentice, ironically enough, even though it's a smaller movie, I could maybe see a world. I could probably see a world where, you know, people, even if Trump loses the election, he probably will. He's still good. Like, Trump is still going to be in the news. He's still going to be complaining about voter fraud and stuff. He's just going to still be in the news. And I feel like that's good. Like, him being in the conversation, I feel like could keep The Apprentice out there for people to see. And again, it is taking a more journalistic approach, which is a very unique take for a Donald Trump biopic. And, you know, I could see a world where not only does this get a lead actor, but maybe, you know, I forget his name, the supporting actor. We'll see. We'll see what it is later on. But, like, you know, it could get supporting actor, original screenplay. You know, the original screenplay category is not looking all that great, so we could see that we could see it get into original screenplay, especially considering this is Writers Guild eligible. Like, earlier, like, it was covered by the Writers Guild of America, so it could get WGA. And, you know, so I could see a good turnout for this film. Whereas Queer, again, I feel like it's just Daniel Craig or bust. So there's that. Nicholas Hoult for juror number 2. I'm still keeping my eye out for this movie because, again, Warner Brothers has seemingly given up on Joker Folie à Deux. And they are fast-tracking juror number 2 for this year. They are and they're releasing it at AFI Fest. If this film becomes like a big sensation, then I could definitely see Nicholas Hoult. Maybe he could squeeze into lead actor, or maybe it's carried by its supporting cast. But again, I do feel like juror number 2 could maybe sneak in. John David Washington for The Piano Lesson. He's a lot higher than I thought he was going to be, considering, you know, I didn't know we didn't really know what was going on with The Piano Lesson, and then we found out, oh wait, the cast is like nothing what you expected, at least in terms of like who stands out and who doesn't, and we'll definitely talk about that here in a bit. But a lot of people are really praising John David Washington and saying he's a standout. Maybe, like, he could definitely get in for the Golden Globes for, you know, lead actor in a drama. Because you got The Brutalist, you got Sings, you know, you got Adrian Brody, you got Coleman Domingo, Sebastian Stan, Conclave, Daniel Craig. I don't really know what would Timothée Chalamet be in drama or musical or comedy? I want to say musical or comedy, but I don't know. In recent years, they have given the biopic, like the musical biopics, like pushed those into drama. Like, they did that with Bohemian Rhapsody, they did that with A Star Is Born, they did that with Elvis. They might just put a complete unknown in drama picture. They might just do that. So, I don't know, maybe John David Washington gets Golden Globe, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he gets SAG, I don't know. We'll have to see. Joaquin Phoenix for Joker Folie à Deux. Well, you know, again, like, I didn't have him in there before, and I definitely don't have him in now, for a number of reasons. For one, Joker 2 is not really doing all that well with critics. It's looking to underperform at the box office. Honestly, I might actually be only predicting Joker 2 for costumes. That might be it. Even though it looks like it could get in for cinematography and production design, it's like, if you're a Best Picture disappointment, you're probably gonna drop off with nominations faster than movies that never really had a chance to be in Best Picture, like Napoleon. So that's it. That's a thing. Also, the stuff about Joaquin Phoenix, abandoning films like last minute, and apparently it wasn't even just that one Luca Guadagnino project, but apparently a recent story came out that he was originally cast as what was it, James McAvoy's character in Split, but then he left last minute, and quite honestly last minute, and they were just able to get in James McAvoy. Which, considering now that if at first I was wondering if with the whole Joaquin Phoenix thing, if it was just I don't know what's going on, maybe I want to see how this develops, because directors can be some directors can be very bad to their actors. I mean, look at Francis Ford Coppola. But again, I didn't know what was going on. But then more stories started coming out about Joaquin Phoenix abandoning sets, and it's like, okay, so he's just an asshole. That's just literally what he does. And I think that bad will is going to resonate throughout the acting branch of just actors in general. And like, yeah, no, fuck this guy, no. And again, it definitely doesn't help considering the reviews for his movie. So yeah, I don't see that happening. But I don't know. Maybe something really weird happens. I don't know. Kingsley Ben-Adir for Bob Marley, One Love. I want to keep my eye on this, because it is a typical biopic performance. I know this movie didn't really make a big splash, but at the same time, this year's looking kind of barren for movies, so I don't know. Maybe he gets a precursor. We'll have to see. Tom Hanks in Here. Man, ever since I saw that trailer, I really don't believe in Here, but people are saying, oh man, but it could be, good film for the parents. I'm like, what would this film have to bring to the table for it to be a big contender? I just don't know. The filmmaking style just does not look interesting in the slightest. If the whole premise is supposed to be we're like a fly on the wall, and just sort of observing these characters live their lives and all that stuff, then why does it look so boring? Because a similar approach was used for The Zone of Interest, where the filmmaking looked very observational, and we're just kind of observing these characters, and it was shot in a way that looked very interesting. Whereas, Here looks like it's filmed in the most basic, bland way imaginable. I just don't know what this movie would have to bring to the table. It would have to be maybe the biggest surprise of the year, maybe. Gabriel LaBelle for Saturday Night. He could get a Golden Globe nomination for comedy musical actor, but I don't know. I just don't know if Saturday. I think the only way I could see that is maybe if Saturday Night was in contention to win Best Picture, but I don't even think it's going to get nominated. So no. Paul Mescal for Gladiator 2. I could maybe see SAG doing this. This could definitely be a SAG nomination. But then again, I would have to be predicting 2 SAG awards for Gladiator 2. And I'm not quite ready to do that yet. And also there would also be Stunt Ensemble. So that means there'd be 3 SAG nominations for Gladiator 2. Yeah, that might be too much, so no. Anthony Hopkins, One Life. Apparently I found out that's going to be premiering, that's actually contending for award season this year. I don't know. I think all the hype has kind of died down for One Life. We'll have to see what the precursors do, but yeah. And Jesse Plemons for Kinds of Kindness. I don't think that's happening, even though people do say he's a standout, but I just wanted to round out the nominees and stuff. Lead actress. Oh my god. There have been a lot of changes. Good God. From the placements of the actresses in Amelia Perez to The Room Next Door, whether or not Night Bitch was going to be a thing or not, and just so many things are happening. So let's just unpack this. I still believe Amy Adams can win lead actress for Night Bitch. Because even the people, for one, the people who like Night Bitch don't just love it. No, I mean, the people who like the movie, they don't just like it, they love it. So that's big. But even those who don't like it, they will say that Amy Adams was amazing in it. And I like that is and that's fascinating. And she did receive the TIFF Spotlight Award, or like some sort of career award or something, or not even a career award, but I don't know what exactly the award is. But basically, she received an award at TIFF that a lot of actors usually get before they win Oscars, like Anthony Hopkins, like Joaquin Phoenix, like Jessica Chastain, like Brendan Fraser. Wait, was Brendan Fraser one of them? I don't know. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. But basically, I want to keep my eye out for Amy Adams, because I think she could still win. She could win musical comedy actress. She could definitely win SAG. This definitely sounds like an award she would win at SAG. And, she does have that overdue narrative. She's been nominated for a bunch of Oscars, but she's never won. This could be her time. And again, I feel like the response from Night Bitch is not awful. Like, it's good. And so, and also, like, being in not the most acclaimed film has not really stopped actors from winning this award. Joaquin Phoenix still won the Oscar. Jessica Chastain still won the Oscar. Brendan Fraser still won the Oscar. I mean, hell, Jessica Chastain and Brendan Fraser were both in non-Best Picture nominated films. So I feel like even if Night Bitch does not get into Best Picture, she could probably still win this. It might be a bit hard. She might run into some problems, like, again, who knows, maybe someone else could take Critics' Choice, someone else could take BAFTA, but I'm really looking at Golden Globe and SAG, like, to see what happens there. Then we have Angelina Jolie for Maria. This is not as acclaimed as, Jackie or Spencer, but, however, people still rave about Angelina Jolie. They still say, man, she's amazing in this film. And again, when I'm looking at some of these other actresses, like, I do feel like she would still be secure in a nomination. Again, we'll have to see how everything goes. But yeah, like, and there might be a chance that Angelina Jolie is the critic sweeper. Maybe they go for her as the critic sweeper, but we'll have to see. And I have Tilda Swinton and Julianne Moore for The Room Next Door. Now, that was another bit of news that was announced, that these two will be competing both in lead actress, not just, one of them going into supporting. So this is a bit of a gamble, because, like, on one hand, it doesn't happen all, like, sometimes whenever they try to do two actors in one, category, it doesn't, for the same movie, it doesn't always work. But at the same time, it has worked. We had Barry Keoghan and Brendan Gleeson for The Banshees of Inisherin. We had Stephanie Hsu and Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm trying to think if it happened last year or not. It did happen with Cody Smith McPhee and Jesse Plemons for not Killers of the Flower Moon, for The Power of the Dog. I'm trying to think if one happened in 2020. I can't remember right now, but like, it can happen. But again, it needs to be consistent. It needs to be one of those. But then again, I guess it wasn't really consistent for Stephanie Hsu and Jamie Lee Curtis. But at the same time, that was also like a Best Picture frontrunner. So so I don't know. Whereas The Room Next Door, I feel like it does get into Best Picture, but it's not going to be a heavy contender. Even though I am predicting it for director, so maybe that makes it a heavy contender. I don't know. But right now, I will say Tilda Swinton and Julianne Moore get in for The Room Next Door. And then there's that fifth slot. And my God, it is so hard to figure out. I've kept flip-flopping back and forth between Mikey Madison for Honora and Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez. And I think right now I will go with Mikey Madison. Because they both have big knocks against each other. Mikey Madison is not very well known. Like the biggest thing she was known for is why do I keep saying Killers of the Flower Moon? For Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But at the same time, I didn't really know that she was in that movie until someone pointed it out. So her role must have not really been all that big. So that's a bit of a knock. And then you also have Carla Sofia Gascon. She has to overcome not being well known, but also, and I don't like thinking very badly of people, but I've always wondered, what if transphobia keeps Carla Sofia Gascon out of Best Actress? Now, granted, it is also a very packed lineup, but I don't know. Like considering people, because I know some people were like, oh, but this, it's not like you really think the Academy is like, you know, full of like a bunch of Republicans and stuff. It's like, it's not just a Republican thing. Like even a lot of like liberal actors are transphobic, like Bette Midler. So this is a very hot button topic for a lot of people, and maybe there are a lot of them that don't want to nominate a trans actress, which is very bad. That's not good, but people can be very like cruel like that. So like it makes me wonder. Like it's again consider like because. Again, like, I just don't, like, are they going to do it? Are they actually going to nominate her? That's the thing. And and also there is also the idea that, you know, that both of these movies could win Best Picture. And I don't really know which one is stronger in Best Picture. Because, granted, I think in my last video I did put Honora at number 2. So maybe Honora sneaks in for Best Actress. So we'll have, again, like, because one thing you do want to be a veteran. You do want to be a veteran in lead actress. Because I guess, how do I describe it? It's like, you want to be one of two things. You want to either be a veteran actress, or you want to be in Best Picture. All 4 of these, Amy Adams, Angelina Jolie, Tilda Swinton, Julianne Moore, these are veterans. They've been in the business for a long time, and have been nominated for multiple Oscars. And so that's why I feel like I'm safe in saying that they'll get in. Again, it's just that 5th slot. It could go to Mikey Madison. It could go to Carla Sofia Gascon. And I feel like maybe Mikey Madison, right now, I think may have an advantage because, again, with Carla Sofia Gascon, she has to overcome 2 things. One, not being a very well-known actress, but also, like, can she get a nomination despite possible transphobia going on? And again, I don't want to think that badly of people. I do want to believe the Academy is ready to nominate a trans actress and lead actress, but are they going to do it? 'Cause I don't know, and that's what concerns me. So right now, I'll probably say Mikey Madison gets in, because I guess another thing that I'd have to consider is, you know, where would these actresses miss? Mikey Madison, I could maybe see getting in everywhere, although maybe not SAG. I don't know about SAG. But Carla Sofia Gascon, I could probably see her missing BAFTA. Like, I don't know if BAFTA will nominate her. So, yeah, like, although could she get SAG? Maybe. I mean, if Amelia Perez is contending for is contending for Best Picture, and is number 2 to win SAG Ensemble, then maybe, again, it's a coin flip. Again, we'll have to see how everything goes. Saoirse Ronan for The Outrun is also another big contender. And what's more important, well, not maybe more important, but like another big thing to note about her is that she is a veteran, or at least more a veteran than Mikey Madison and Carla Sofia Gascon. Like, she's been nominated for many Oscars. So like she has that advantage, even though The Outrun I don't think is anywhere near Best Picture. And it was announced that Saoirse Ronan was going to be campaigned in lead actress for The Outrun and supporting actress for Blitz. So maybe she just gets in over Mikey Madison and Carla Sofia Gascon, a la, you know, Annette Bening. Even though Annette Bening is way more of a veteran than Saoirse Ronan, but again, at this point, people very much know who Saoirse Ronan is. But so I guess it really is just. But I guess maybe that 5th slot is between these 3: Mikey Madison, Carla Sofia Gascon, and Saoirse Ronan. Because I don't think any of these other actresses are going to get in. Nicole Kidman for Baby Girl. I mean, yeah, she is a veteran, but I don't see this. I don't see a lot of big buzz regarding Baby Girl or Nicole Kidman. Marianne Jean-Baptiste, I think, could definitely get BAFTA. Like, watching the trailer, it's like, all right, yeah, this is very much a BAFTA performance, definitely. But again, I don't think the movie's going to be that big. Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. Honestly, maybe. But again, the competition is so stacked, I don't think she can get in. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, anything is possible, but we'll have to see. Regina King and Shirley, I think maybe she could get SAG for this. I know this movie came and went, but other movie came and went, Respect with Jennifer Hudson. Like, this could be a nomination that we see pop up at SAG, and it's just like, wait, what? Because I do think SAG would like this kind of performance a lot more than something like The Room Next Door or Honora or Emilia Perez. Or maybe even more than Maria. Like, honestly, because they do like their, because SAG does like their fun clap your hands movies, so maybe Shirley could fit that bill in SAG, but they're probably not the Oscar. Cynthia Erivo in Wicked, I'm keeping my eyes out for her because maybe she could also get SAG. She could also get into the Golden Globes comedy musical category. Honestly, maybe definitely musical comedy category. So, we'll have to see. Robin Wright for here, again, I don't know if that's really happening. Again, I want to see the reviews first, I guess. Ryan Destiny for The Fire Inside. I think she's probably dead for this. Honestly, I don't know. I probably should have put Zendaya above her because I think that now that The Fire Inside came and went in TIFF and didn't really do anything, and honestly, didn't even place at TIFF, The Fire Inside just might be dead completely. It might be dead completely. Then we have supporting actress. Zoe Saldana I have in out front for Emilia Perez. Again, Emilia Perez could potentially win 5 Oscars, and I think supporting actress would be one of them. And again, Zoe Saldana has a lot of things going for her. Big musical performance, funny, because funny enough, supporting actress with musicals happens quite a lot, actually. So I think maybe, as long as Emilia Perez really hits well with the Academy and stuff, I think she could probably win. And she has been around for a while, with going back from Pirates of the Caribbean to Avatar, Guardians of the Galaxy. People are like, oh yeah, she could probably she could probably be considered a veteran actress at this point. Danielle Deadwyler for The Piano Lesson. People are raving about Danielle Deadwyler. They are going all out for her. So, again, even though this movie's probably not getting into Best Picture, I think it is safe to say she'll get nominated for supporting actress. Another big contender, Felicity Jones for The Brutalist. I don't think she's ever going to win, but I think she'll get nominated. The Brutalist is looking to be, again, in terms of, the Best Picture frontrunner, at least when it comes to critic circles, I think the critic circles are mainly going to go out for The Brutalist. So I think that's going to keep, Felicity Jones in the nominations. She'll be like Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer. She'll just show up. But not really win anything. Selena Gomez for Emilia Perez. She could definitely miss in some places. She's probably not going to get BAFTA. She might not even get the Golden Globe nomination, but then again, I don't know. Maybe they do want to nominate Selena Gomez in there. But SAG would absolutely nominate her. As long as she gets Critics' Choice and SAG, I think I am safe in predicting her for supporting actress. Or even if she got Golden Globe and SAG. But I don't want to see her just get SAG, because if she only gets SAG, then I think she's out. Because lately, you don't really get in off of just SAG alone. So, yeah. And Toni Collette for juror number 2. Honestly, I do feel like juror number 2 is going to be bigger than we think. Like I said before. And right now, I think I'll have her in right now. But, something could happen. We'll have to see. If this movie becomes, a legitimate Best Picture contender, then she's definitely in. Because Clint Eastwood movies typically do get, acting nominations. I mean, even Richard Jewell got supporting actress. So, I'm willing to go along with her for now. And Saoirse Ronan for Blitz, she could also happen. That's also a very big possibility. But again, I'm wondering if Blitz could be slipping in Best Picture, because having seen that trailer, I'm not as convinced anymore. So we'll have to see about that. Lady Gaga for Joker Folie à Deux. Man, at first we thought she was number 1 for lead actress, and now she's probably not even going to get nominated. Again, the movie's just not really liked. People just don't really like this movie. And already it just seems like Warner Brothers is abandoning it. It's looking to underperform at the box office, and they're like, we'll just put out more and more clips of this movie online for people to watch and go, oh, we want to see this movie. But I think I don't know. Again, maybe she happens, but I don't know. Anjanou Ellis-Taylor for Nickel Boys. I've heard she does have a moment, but she's also not really like a big presence in the movie. So I don't know. I'm not really gonna put in Anjanou Ellis-Taylor, especially since I don't think Nickel Boys is getting into Best Picture. We'll have to see. Leslie Manville for Queer. I don't know. I mean, again, I've heard she is a little bit more of a standout than you would think, so maybe, but we'll have to see about that. Elle Fanning for A Complete Unknown. Again, I really want to know how big the supporting cast is for A Complete Unknown. I did hear they were doing reshoots to focus the movie more on Timothée Chalamet and less on the supporting characters, but I still think that means they're probably still going to have a lot of focus on the supporting characters, or at the very least enough to where it's still like to where it's still a very showy cast. So we'll have to see about that. Natasha Lyonne for His Three Daughters. This movie is out on Netflix right now, and no one is talking about it. I think Natasha Lyonne is officially dead. Isabel Rossellini, I've heard, again, Conclave has been shown to film festivals, and people just don't think Rossellini is doing enough to get in. So she's probably dead as well. Maria Bakalova for The Apprentice. If people are very passionate about The Apprentice, maybe, but again, I've heard that she's not really in the movie that much. Rachel Sennett for Saturday Night, Kathy Burke for Blitz, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Joan Chen for Dee Dee, Connie Nielsen for Gladiator 2. I'm mainly kind of trying to round out, okay, maybe I'm not really rounding up, I'm just kind of throwing in whatever possibilities could be out there, but honestly, I think it is more likely than not between the top 6, maybe top 7. We'll have to see. But yeah, we'll have to see about that. Supporting actor. All right, this is another one where a lot has changed. Actually, yeah, I think the only 2 that are still in this lineup from my last video are Clarence Macklin and Denzel Washington. Like, so much has changed. Let's go on about this. 1, I feel vindicated. In having Clarence Macklin at number 1 since the beginning of the year, because like people were like, what? Samuel L. Jackson has such a big narrative for The Piano Lesson. I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, especially if you think Sing Sing's winning Best Picture, Clarence Macklin is kind of has to come along with the ride. And then The Piano Lesson was released to film festivals, and people are like, wow, Samuel L. Jackson is like, I barely heard a single person talk about The Piano Lesson. It is amazing how much people are just not talking about him. Like, when the first round of reactions came up, more people were talking about John David Washington and Ray Fisher than Samuel L. Jackson. Like, oh my God. Samuel L. Jackson is just not happening for this movie. And a lot of people have brought Clarence Macklin back up, and I'm just like, yes, I got that right. I might get this right. Especially if Sing Sing is winning Best Picture. However, at the same time, a lot of new contenders have popped up. Some people are saying Guy Pearce for The Brutalist. That's a possibility. But if I'm being honest, I think number 2 is Mark Hamill for The Life of Chuck. Because out of all the actors in The Life of Chuck, people are saying Mark Hamill is the one who stands out the most. And when that started happening, I was like, oh, think of the ramifications of this. Because if The Life of Chuck does turn out to be very powerful, like let's say maybe it does win adapted screenplay, or it's looking to win adapted screenplay over Sing Sing, well then The Life of Chuck could honestly overperform. Like, wow. Because here's the thing. If Clarence Macklin isn't winning, guess who can probably win SAG? It's probably, because Mark Hamill, he kind of has all the ingredients in there for for a win. Like that kind of a career narrative win. Because he's been around as Luke Skywalker, he's been around as the Joker, he's been around Hollywood for ages now, and this just screams Jamie Lee Curtis. Now, granted, Jamie Lee Curtis was also in the Best Picture Frontrunner of the Year, But again, I'm looking at some of these others, like people are saying Guy Pearce. I don't know, like Guy Pearce, like I'm with Guy Pearce, I'm not hearing the rave reactions that are saying like, oh, he's going to win. Like where unlike Robert Downey Jr., people were immediately like, oh, he's winning. Here, it's kind of like again, it's sort of like a free-for-all. Kind of like the Best Supporting Actress race a couple years ago. And I'm just saying, if Clarence Macklin is not winning for Sing Sing, I really don't think Guy Pearce is winning SAG. Like, that could very well go to Mark Hamill. And if he wins SAG, we need to take him seriously for the Oscar win. Again, it depends on if The Life of Chuck really is starting to become a Best Picture frontrunner. We'll have to see about that. And I know people are going to be mad about this. And honestly, I don't know if, especially with some of the stuff that Mark Hamill's been saying about political matters, I don't know if I would want him to be winning this either. But again, he could just, that Jamie Lee Curtis narrative could take over. Again, especially considering it looks like a supporting actor free-for-all right now. Again, I'll still stick with Clarence Macklin because he makes the most sense, especially if I'm thinking Sing Sing wins Best Picture. But if Clarence Macklin falls, watch out for Mark Hamill. Watch out for him. He could be that spoiler that starts winning. So we'll have to see about that. Denzel Washington for Gladiator 2. Another big update was that the trailer came out. I'm not gonna lie, even though a lot of people really hated the trailer for Gladiator 2, I actually really dug it. And I'm really excited to see Denzel Washington in this. Like, he looks like he's having a ton of fun. Oh my, like, this is just I honestly, he could probably get nominated everywhere except BAFTA. Like, the BAFTAs hate Denzel Washington for some reason. But honestly, I think he's very safe. I think he'll get in. Unless, like Gladiator 2 is, like, considered one of the worst movies of the year. Which, even for Ridley Scott standards, I don't think that's going to happen. But, again, you know, I think, Denzel Washington, he typically gets in when he's in, like, some sort of a prestige-adjacent film. Like, obviously, yes, he's not gonna get in for, like, The Equalizer, but that's, like, commercial, like, action thriller stuff. Like, even for movies that no one saw, like Roman J. Israel Esquire, he gets in for a nomination. So, I feel like Denzel Washington is just gonna get a nomination here for Gladiator 2, so, yeah. And then at number 5, I actually have Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown, because I'm expecting A Complete Unknown to overperform to an extent. Now, granted, again, there is the whole thing about the reshoots and that they're trying to focus it more on Bob Dylan more than some of these other characters. But again, I do feel like there might still be enough for Edward Norton to, like, stand out somewhat, especially when considering the rest of the competition here, because J.K. Simmons for juror number 2. Granted, he could definitely get in. Especially if juror number 2 is like a big deal, then J.K. Simmons could probably happen. But again, I don't even know who he's really playing. Is he playing a judge? If he's playing a judge, then maybe that happens. Jeremy Strong on The Apprentice. Oh, that's the actor. Okay, Jeremy Strong. Jeremy Strong could definitely happen if The Apprentice is stronger than we think, and people say that he is a big standout in the film. So that's not an impossibility. Paul Raci for Sing Sing, if they want to throw a big party for Sing Sing at the Oscar nominations, if Paul, I think this is another interesting litmus test. If a movie starts overperforming with nominations, it might actually win Best Picture. And if Paul Raci ends up getting a nomination for Sing Sing, then, like, Sing Sing might be winning Best Picture, because that's a performance that people are not really expecting to get a nomination. But I am keeping my eye out for Paul Raci, so we'll have to see. Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain. I know a lot of people have him in right now, especially a lot of people saying that A Real Pain is going to get in Best Picture. I just don't buy A Real Pain in Best Picture right now. I just don't. It sounds like a movie, like, again, I'm not saying it should or shouldn't, but it just really sounds like a movie that people are really wanting to get into Best Picture, but overall it's just kind of too small to really make a big splash. Whereas with Even Past Lives, even though that only got nominated for 2 Oscars, Best Picture and Best Original Screenplay, you could definitely see lead actress. You could definitely, like, at least earlier on in the year, you could have seen John Majaro get in, and you could also see film editing. Actually, film editing, like, because if I'm not mistaken, I think Past Lives actually got nominated at the American Cinema Editors, the Eddie Awards for drama film editing. So it's like it was still in contention for some categories. Whereas A Real Pain, it's kind of looking like I don't know, the nomination tally, or at least the nomination potential, not just the tally, but the potential is not really that high to begin with. Whereas again, Past Lives, you could have maybe seen Past Lives in for director. But again, with A Real Pain, it like the potential for nominations is just not that high. So I'm not gonna bank on that. Stanley Tucci and John Lithgow for Conclave. I've heard that they're not really standouts enough. But between the two of them, it would probably be Stanley Tucci. So I don't know. But again, I'm not really expecting Conclave to be as big of a contender at the Oscars as we think. Again, there is a world where it misses Best Picture. And if it misses Best Picture, then absolutely not. Stanley Tucci and John Lithgow are not. They're not getting in. Again, if it's dropped from Best Picture. Willem Dafoe for Saturday Night. I've heard people say that he's a little bit of a standout, but Drew Starkey for Queer. Ray Fisher for The Piano Lesson. Again, I've heard people say that Ray Fisher stands out more than Samuel Jackson in The Piano Lesson. Tom Hiddleston for The Life of Chuck. Apparently, I've heard that he's just not really in the movie that much. And when it came to the poster, he's just like, that's just kind of like an image you see throughout the film. Brian Terry Henry in The Fire Inside. I had him in, but again, The Fire Inside kind of flopped at TIFF, so he's not happening. John Turturro for The Room Next Door. I don't know. Mark Edelstein for Anora. I mean, I've heard no one talk about him. Now, again, if he does show up, oh my god, it might actually win Best Picture, but I don't know, just no one really seems to be that passionate about him. And people are talking about like, oh, is Austin Butler going to get in for Dune Part 2? But I think if any actor was to get in for Dune Part 2, it would probably be Javier Bardem. Again, previous Oscar winner, been nominated multiple times, even for performances that were not expected for a nomination, like Beautiful and Being the Ricardos. I just don't think Javier, like, I think Javier Bardem out of any actor would have the best chance. And also, like, I know it's kind of weird to have this as a litmus thing, but, you know, he does have that meme where it's like, that Al-Sagib Galib or whatever it is, that one where he's like shocked and he's like, oh, the prophecy or whatever. Like, that's keeping him in people's minds. So, I don't know. I know it's weird, but it's like, it's sort of like why Oppenheimer, there were still a lot of Oppenheimer memes and a lot of Barbie memes, and that kind of kept those movies in the public conversation. Again, I don't think Javier Bardem is happening, but I don't know. Like, honestly, maybe he should be a little bit higher up than some of these actors, because people are talking about Javier Bardem, but we'll have to see. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. And then finally, we'll just talk about SAG Ensemble, because again, this is the acting categories video. Might as well lump in SAG Ensemble into this. I think this is going to be a very close race between Sing Sing and Emilia Perez. And honestly, maybe The Life of Chuck as well, because I've heard this has a pretty decent ensemble, and again, like we'll have to see how this movie does. I mean, obviously it did win People's Choice at TIFF, and so that typically does get you some ensemble nominations, I think. Yeah, like, let's say it happened for American actually, let me look. Yeah, American Fiction got nominated at SAG. The Fabelmans got nominated at SAG. Belfast got nominated at SAG. Nomadland didn't. Did Jojo Rabbit get nominated? Yes, Jojo Rabbit did get nominated at SAG. Green Book didn't. Free Billboards did. La La Land didn't. I don't think Room did. Okay, Room didn't. The Imitation Game did. Did 12 Years a Slave? Wait. Oh yeah, no, 12 Years a Slave did get in. All right, Silver Linings Playbook? Yep. So, yeah, King's Speech? Yep. Wait, what about Precious? Yep, Precious got in. Dang, okay. Slumdog Millionaire. Yep, that got in. So yeah, like, if you win, it looks like if you win People's Choice at TIFF, you could probably also get in at SAG. So I think I'll keep in The Life of Chuck. And then there are the other two. I do like, one thing I want to do is predict 4 out of 5 in Best Picture. Because, like, it's pretty rare when all 5 movies are nominated for Best Picture at SAG Ensemble. So I want to go 4 out of 5 with the Oscar nominations. Like, I want to have one of these that's not in Best Picture, and that's going to be Saturday Night. I think, because again, I feel like that is a very obvious ensemble that you could nominate. But again, I don't think Saturday Night is getting into Best Picture. So I think that's a good bet to make. But then you also have that 5th slot. And I don't really know what to do. Because a lot of the other Best Picture nominees, it's like they're not really looking like they're going to be like big ensemble contenders. Like Anora, I don't know about that. We'll have to see about juror number 2, but I currently don't have that in Best Picture. Conclave, maybe, but it also doesn't really sound like a best. That's in Best. I have that in Best Picture, but it doesn't sound like a SAG Ensemble nomination. The Brutalist, I think that's just going to be Power of the Dog. Like, even if it gets like 3 nominations here, that's definitely not like a SAG Ensemble kind of thing. Room Next Door, no. Again, you see what I mean? It's like, it's kind of hard. So I'm going with a complete unknown, because a complete unknown could probably be like, you know, like it could be like Bohemian Rhapsody, where people were like, wait, why did that get in for SAG Ensemble? Or let's see, what else? Like, I think, Bohemian Rhapsody also did this, where it's like, or just movies in general, where it's like mainly the focus is on like the lead performance, and then like everyone else is just kind of like, all right, we'll just lump you into SAG Ensemble. Another movie that did this was The Theory of Everything. Like, people were not expecting The Theory of Everything to get SAG Ensemble, yet that got in. So I might put in a complete unknown for SAG Ensemble right now, because even though at first it doesn't really make sense for what an ensemble would be when you think of ensemble, it still fits the bill for what SAG would probably do. Again, you want to have 4 out of 5 with the Oscar nominees for Best Picture. And SAG Ensemble, like a complete unknown is going to have quite a few big names in it, even if Timothée Chalamet is the main focus. And I do think Edward Norton might get in for supporting actor, so it's not that crazy. So I'll probably go with him. And again, with Saturday Night, that's the film that, again, I feel like that's the film where, you know, you have a big ensemble, but it's not in Best Picture. But if that's not Saturday Night, then what could be that? Then The Piano Lesson. I think The Piano Lesson would definitely fit that bill. Like, SAG really loves the August Wilson plays. Like, they nominated Fences for ensemble. They nominated Ma Rainey's Black Bottom for ensemble. So maybe that does, maybe The Piano Lesson happens over Saturday Night. Let's see what else. Wicked, like, maybe Wicked happens, but I don't know. Like, I don't think Wicked would I don't think Wicked's happening, but we'll have to see. Blitz, I don't know if that sounds like a SAG thing. Gladiator 2, maybe. But again, that would be that would be 3 nominations for Gladiator 2 at SAG, like ensemble, supporting actor, and stunts. Like, that's a big tally of nominations for a film that's not in Best Picture. So I don't know. Dune Part 2, again, this makes sense as a SAG. Like, when you think of an ensemble, Dune Part 2 makes sense, but they didn't even nominate the first film for that. So I don't know. The Apprentice, I don't know. So again, I'm looking at all these, I'm just like, I just don't know. I just don't know if any of these are really going to happen. I do think, like, again, unless they go 3 out of 5 with the Best Picture nominees, which, I mean, it has happened, but it doesn't happen a lot. I could see, I am thinking it's going to be 4 out of 5, and the 4th Best Picture nominee is going to be a complete unknown. But again, I want to keep my eye on The Piano Lesson, because The Piano Lesson, that is a film that, you know, that would also make sense for a nomination. But again, regarding who wins, that's also another thing I didn't really touch on. Who wins? Right now, I think Sing Sing wins, because I do think that's what it would need for Best Picture. If it doesn't win SAG Ensemble, oh my God, Sing Sing is in trouble. Because it could lose this award to Amelia Perez, which I do have winning more Oscars. I do have this winning 5 Oscars, which would be supporting actress for Zoe Saldana, score, song, international feature, and makeup and hairstyling, because again, I've heard that there was a big makeup transformation in the film that actually fooled a lot of people into thinking that that was a completely different actor. So I'm keeping my eyes on Amelia. So Amelia Perez could definitely win 5 Oscars, and so it winning SAG Ensemble makes sense. And if it won SAG Ensemble, I'd want to take it seriously for Best Picture. That depending on, obviously, if it can somehow win director somewhere or adapted screenplay, which again, I've heard director is more likely than adapted screenplay, and that's going to be tough because would the Directors Guild give Amelia Perez the win for director, especially considering Brady Corbett is looking to sweep? I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know what Amelia Perez's path would have to look like in order to win Best Picture at the Oscars, so we'll have to see what happens there. And The Life of Chuck, if The Life of Chuck really wants to overperform, like, damn, if it starts winning adapted screenplay, supporting actor Mark Hamill, and SAG Ensemble, oh wow, that, like, but again, what other awards would it win to win Best Picture? Because it doesn't sound like a Best Picture winning film. That's kind of what's tricky. So right now I will go with Sing Sing. It just looks like the ensemble of the year, and that would be an easy award to give it if you want it to lead into Best Picture at the Oscars. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking about with SAG Ensemble here. And guys, those are my predictions for the acting categories at the Oscars. Man, this video has gone on long, so you have a lot of content for this video, so that's great. But now, I want to pass the question off to you. What are your acting Oscar predictions? I will say I am going to be reading these comments, and I'm going to be talking about them in a reading your comments video for members, which I have the first episode out right now if you want to check it out right now. I'm going to start reading your comments and putting them in video form. If you want to watch those, become a member. It's going to be a lot of fun. And consider hitting that subscribe button, because if you don't, Mark Hamill will win Best Supporting Actor.